Chapter 7 in this translation of original Valmiki's Ramayan, and heading of this is Viswamitra. One day Dashrath sat in his palace with his ministers and the rishis who lived in Ayodhya. He spoke to them about finding a bride for Ram. When he thought of his sons, he thought first and at times only of Ram. Then they heard a commotion outside. A tall rishi with a great and stern face arrived at Dashrath's gates. He could have as easily been a Kshatriya warrior as a hermit. Though he seemed a man of 50 or so, in fact, he was older than you could imagine. He came like a storm, in a voice more a king's than a hermit's. He commanded the guards at the gates to announce him to the court. Tell Dashrath of Ayodhya, said the stranger with eyes like live coals, that Vishwamitra wants to see him. And he stood tapping a foot impatiently, for he was in a hurry. The guards knew who he was. After paying quick homage to him, they ran into the sabha to tell Dashrath about the visitor, who was a legend not only on earth but in Devlok. Vishwamitra had once been a Kshatriya's king, who after an unequaled tapasya had become a Brahm Rishi. Dashrath came out of his palace to welcome the Great One. The stranger with the tangled jata and the burning eyes seemed pleased. After laying a long palm on Dashrath's head in blessings, he went into the palace with the king, into the court agog at his arrival. The visitor did not speak, only looked around him with the regard of one who had seen many palaces in his time. Even when he was seated, Vishwamitra, friend of the universe, was silent, as if to remind Dashrath of his duty as a host to praise his guest. Dashrath said in a clear voice, Vishwamitra, your coming here is a God sent to me, like nectar to a mortal, rain to the famined, the birth of a son to the childless, like a treasure to a poor man. Not imagining he might be held to his word sooner than he thought, he continued, My lord, is there anything a humble Kshatriya can offer a great Brahma Rishi? I have a kingdom I can lay at your feet. With the faintest smile now, Vishwamitra said briskly, spoken like a true son of the house of Ikshvaku, I know your offer is not a hollow one, Dashrath. Indeed, today I have come to ask you for a favor. I have taken a vow for a yajna, but I find I cannot complete it because two Rakshas of the jungle desecrate my sacrifice. They are my avis and come invisibly. They rain rotten flesh, blood, and feces on my sacred fire at the times when I have just begun, and others when I have almost finished. I am forbidden anger, and I may not stop them with a curse. I have come to seek the protection of a Kshatriya king. Dashrath was eager to rush to Vishwamitra's help. Tell me, how can I help you, Muni, and consider my help given? Vishwamitra said softly, Send your son Ram with me to kill the Rakshas. It was as if he had struck Dashrath with a mace. The king crumbled in his throne. When he was revived with water sprinkled on his face, his mind was a storm of demons. Ram is not yet 16, he cried. His eyes are as tender as lotuses. If I don't see my son for an hour, I feel I am dying. Ram is my life. If you must take him, let me also come with my soldiers. In his heart, he knew his word was given in honor, and he could not break it. Vishwamitra said kindly, Only Ram can kill this Rakshas. Have no fear, I will protect him. Besides, if he comes with me, your son will tread a lofty path of fame, and his deeds will become a legend. Your prince is born for fame. Don't cling to him. His way lies with me, because the boy you know as your son. But Dashrath cried in anguish, Who are these Rakshas? How are they so powerful? Vishwamitra said calmly, In the line of the Rishi Pulatsya, there is a Rakshas of matchless strength and intelligence called Ravan. He worshipped Brahma with a great tapasya, and Brahma blessed him with a boon. But then he turned into an evil sovereign upon the earth. Ravan has gathered all the forces of darkness under his power. The two Rakshas, Marich and Subahu, who ruin my sacrifice, serve him. Ravan tolerates no yajna anywhere. He knows they are the threat to him. He believes himself immortal and seeks to extend his sway over all the earth, with himself as supreme monarch in Lanka. But Dashrath, who are you afraid? Don't you know who your son is? Ask Vashishta. Ask any of your rishis here. They will tell you who Ram is. But Dashrath said, I will lose my tender boy to feral Rakshas. I have heard not even the Devas and the Gandharvas can resist Ravan of Lanka. And you want to take my sweet prince to fight that monster's forces? I've heard the valor of those whom Ravan's servant skill is absorbed by the Rakshas, while their spirits languish darkly. Have mercy on me, Muni. My child is not yet 16. He is the Shan of my race, the heir to the Ikshvaku throne. Then Dashrath cried desperately, No, Vishwamitra, I will not send Ram with you. Marich and Subahu are not adversaries for a 16-year-old. I will come to fight them myself, but I won't send my child. Vishwamitra's tremendous brows bristled and the Sabha fell hushed. That rishi, whose curse could extinguish a galaxy, cried in a voice like doom, You received me with such flattery. You made such promises to me, but now you go back on your word and bring shame on the noble line of Raghu. I will return from where I came, and you can live in your fool's paradise until Ravan arrives at your gates one day. But I say to you, Dashrath, if you want to tread the path of destiny written in the stars, send Ram with me. The rishi's voice echoed through the court. Suddenly, Vishwamitra seemed to have grown before their eyes, and his presence dominated the Sabha like an omen. Still, Dashrath was silent. Blind with a father's love, he hardly knew what he did. But now Vashishta, his guru, said to him, A king of the house of Ikshvaku is meant to be an embodiment of Dharma. Don't darken your ancestors' honor with this weakness. To break his word is unforgivable for the meanest Kshatriya, let alone a king like you. You must send Ram with Vishwamitra. The rishi will protect him as the wheel of fire does the chalice of nectar. You don't know who your son is, or you would not dream that two common Rakshas of the forest could harm him. And do you really think a Brahma Rishi cannot stop these demons himself? They would be like straws in a gale before his power. Vishwamitra is a Trikal Gyani. He sees through the three times. He has some other purpose in asking Ram to go with him. Dashratha, your son belongs not just to you, but to the very earth. The time has come for him to embark on his destiny. Give up this insane Putra Sneha. Send him with the Muni. Light of reason dawned on Dashrath. He knelt before Vishwamitra. Forgive me. I was blinded by my love for my child. I am happy to send Ram with you. But my son has never been alone yet. Because his brother Lakshman is like his shadow. I beg you, take them both to the jungle. Meanwhile, Kaushalya heard about Vishwamitra's mission and quickly prepared the princes to go with the rishi. They took their three mothers' blessings. They made no distinction between them and came to their father's court. They were taller by half a head than even the Kshatriyas of those times, who were at least a head taller than the tallest men of today. And they were magnificent. Ram was dark as a blue lotus, and Lakshman fair as a moonbeam. Both princes wore their hair down to their shoulders, regal, powerful, handsome, poised, and so humble. They prostrated themselves before Dashrath. Then they stood before him with folded hands like two young guards. Dashrath said, Brahm Rishi Vishwamitra has come to take you to the jungle to help him complete his yajna. Go with him, my sons, and obey him in all things as you would obey me. The princes bowed to their father and without a word crossed to Vishwamitra's side. They stood quietly awaiting his command. The Muni rose and led them out into the sun. When Ram and Lakshman left Ayodhya with Vishwamitra, a scented breeze blew through that city. The flights of birds and every other natural omen were auspicious all around them. As the king and his ministers stood at the palace door, waving to the strange company of princes and hermits, the sky filled with ethereal music, and there was a soft rain of petals of light. Vishwamitra looked at Dashrath and smiled. Chapter 8, Kamasrama. Vishwamitra walked in front, his long strides leading quickly into the distance and out of sight of Ayodhya. Not once did the princes turn to look back, but followed the rishi, their quivers strapped to powerful shoulders, their swords bound to lean waists, and their bows in their hands. Ram walked 5 paces behind Vishwamitra, and Lakshman 5 paces behind his brother. The hermit did not say a word, and the princes too kept his silence like a sacred thing between them. Just as it was evening, they arrived at the southern bank of the Saryu. Twilight birds filled the trees in armfuls like leaves ablaze with the song. For all his fierce appearance, Vishwamitra said gently, Ram, take up water in your palms, and I will teach you the Bala and Atibala mantras. Then not hunger, thirst, not tiredness will touch you on your way. When Ram approached, the Muni laid a hand on the dark youth's head. These mantras are Brahma's daughters. I know of no one in 3 worlds more worthy of receiving them. He stared wistfully at Ram for a moment. Then the chant of the mantras spiraled from him like a flight of birds. It seemed to Lakshman they flew down Ram's throat as the heir to Ayodhya repeated the arcane words after the sage. The other birds of dusk fell silent to hear the syllables of wonder. After that initiation, Ram's body rippled with new resonance. Vishwamitra taught Lakshman also the mantras, and the brothers worshipped him as their guru now. They prepared to sleep beside the whispering river, for night had fallen. As if it was a long standing habit, they spread tall grasses into the elegant mats for the Muni and for themselves. When the hermit lay down, the princes also lay close to each other. For the first time in their lives on such beds, they fell quickly into tranquil dreams under the stars as the moon crept above the trees and lit the river with silver light. The next morning, Vishwamitra was up before the sun. For a while he stood gazing at the sleeping Ram by the magic light of dawn. Dew still lay on the ground, and the river seemed hardly awake herself. Vishwamitra called softly to the sleepers, Ram, awake. The first Sandhya is here. Rouse yourself, Lakshman. The princes awoke, rested and smiling. They waded into the fragrant river. Standing waist deep in the flow, they worshipped the rising sun with the Surya Namaskar. They came out of the water and prostrated themselves at Vishwamitra's feet. When he had blessed them, they resumed their journey. When they had gone until noon, they came to a place where, shielding their eyes against the sun, now climbed to the zenith, they saw an enchanting sight below them. The dark Saryu flowed in soft thunder into the Ganga, which fell from the stars. Here the two rivers sparkled at each other's touch. Vishwamitra allowed himself a rare smile. They saw that the ashrams of myriad rishis, all seekers after truth, dotted the banks of the rivers at the sacred confluence. It was one great hermitage, made up of a score of small ones. Moved, Ram asked, "Whose ashram is this? Even from here I can feel how ancient and holy it is." Vishwamitra said, "Deep ages have passed since this ashram was founded. But once Shiva himself sat in the dhyan in his tapovan, and Parvati, the mountain's daughter, attended him. Those were the times when Kamdev, who is formless now, had a body and a face. Kam came to this place and aimed his flower arrows at Shiva. For a moment, Shiva came under Kam's spell and reached for Parvati. Then, realizing what he did, he turned to see who dared pierce him with such subtle shafts of lust. Seeing Kam in the bushes, Shiva glared upon his third eye and made ashes of the Dev of love. The wind scattered Kam's ashes across the kingdom of Ang. Ang got its name because Kam, who was bodiless now, was called Anang. The rishis you see are Shiv Bhagats, and the ashram is called Kamashram. Let us go down to the Munis. Many of them see through time as other men see the world, and they have been expecting us. Look how they come to welcome us. They are overjoyed at the advent of Ram of Ayodhya. They had a welcome fit for the guards from the rishis of Kam Ashram. Those sages knew better than Ram himself who he was and why he had been born. Vishwamitra and the princes decided to stay with them beside the two rivers. The Brahm Rishi and the others as well regaled the young Kshatriyas with stories of times out of mind, of the bygone millennia of Krit and Treta, especially legends of fathomless Shiva. Slowly, evening deepened into night. Stars like cosmic lanterns appeared above them. They seemed to traverse the sky ever so slowly for their keenness to eavesdrop on the shining tales of those mystic hermits. So that's it. So we'll start with the chapter 9 today.